Hello everyone and welcome to Hoof Beats. I'm Steve Peak.
And I'm Jay Tuiskowski. And today we bring you a preview of this year's football season and show you what went on at Meet the Racers.
We'll also have Tom Vai of OVCBall.net in the studio to give us his thoughts on the upcoming season. And later in the show, we'll give you our prediction of tomorrow's opening game versus Missouri.
All of that and more on this week's edition of Hoof Beats.
New season, new quarterback, new defensive alignment, and new expectations heading into the 2013 edition of Murray State football after a disappointing 2012 campaign. Last year, the Racers posted a 5-6 record, falling short of their goal of making the FCS playoffs and winning the OVC. This year, the expectations aren't nearly as high, but some still believe Murray State can contend for an Ohio Valley Conference title. JT, at first glance, what are your thoughts?
Well, Steve, I'm going to be honest with you. When I really think about it, I'm excited for this Murray State team, and the reason being, confidence goes a long way, and it builds a winning attitude. And when I really look at the Murray State Racers, one player in particular stands out to me as a player who has confidence and a winning attitude, and that's Dwayne Brady. And the reason I say that, would you be upset if a guy came into your school saying he was going to be the #1 running back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's my point. Dwayne has been working hard. His pass blocking, I can't rave enough about his pass blocking. He worked on it all camp, and it looks phenomenal. And that's one thing I'm going to say. A winning attitude resonates through the locker room, and that's one thing the Racers did not have last year. The seniors lacked that. This year, not so much. Walter Powell, Brandon Wicks, Dwayne Brady, all of them want to win, and that goes to the locker room. And when they see that, they want to win.
Yeah, and you mentioned Walter Powell. Walter was quoted as saying in the Courier-Journal that he said, we're a first-place team. I mean, they're picked to finish 6th, and most people have them picked to finish 6th. He says we're a first-place team. So I agree. The confidence is definitely there with this football team. You talk about Dwayne Brady, who he's going to be trading snaps with this year is Jamal Berry, and what do you expect out of him this year? You had a phenomenal season last year, as expected.
Well, Steve, you know, when I really think about it, he's a Big Ten player. And, you know, Big Ten players are big time. It's plain and simple. He was a 4-star prospect out of high school, ran a 4.4 40. And another interesting fact about him and Dwayne is Dwayne's always kind of maybe not been in his shadow, but they attended the same Nike Sparks camp in Florida. And, you know, Florida's a hotbed for football. So that just tells you the level of athletes we're going to have on our field this year.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. And you talk about another guy, Walter Powell, who when we saw in practice, we said, here's a guy who just looks different. The way he moves, when he makes the reception, his yards after catch, everything he does after he makes the catch looks different than everybody else.
You know, Steve, and that's the truth. I mean, we've had a couple NFL scouts over at practice look at him. When I was there, they had the Ravens scout there watching him. And, I mean, he deserves the publicity he's getting. He mentioned to you and I that he used to be a DB in high school before he became a wide receiver his senior year. And that's a pretty interesting fact. That's a big transition going from one side of the ball to another and excelling at it. You know, he was talking about why he came to Murray State was for the spread offense. And he has flourished in the spread offense. He's probably going to go in the 5th round of the NFL draft this year unless he puts up even OVC breaking numbers.
Yeah, and we talked enough about the offense. Let's talk a little bit about the defense. They did switch in completely different defensive alignment. They went from a 4-3 to a 3-4. I know you have some thoughts on the 3-4 defense. If you'd like to share that with us.
You know, Steve, when I first thought about the 3-4 defense, what Dennis Thorell was bringing, I was kind of worried just because we didn't scout for the 3-4 defense. We scouted for a 4-3, and that's all it was. And as I've talked to the players a little bit and really gotten to know them, they're excited. And like I said earlier, excitement builds through the locker room. If a freshman sees a senior being excited, that freshman wants to learn and be more excited. And that's the exciting thing for us is with the 3-4 defense, they're excited. You know, I watched a scrimmage about 2 weeks ago, and they stopped the run. They stopped it, and they stopped it, and they stopped it, even with Jamal, even with Dwayne. And that's the impressive thing that comes with me for the 3-4 defense. You can always stop. If you can stop the run, you can stop the pass. But if you can't stop the pass, it doesn't mean you can stop the run.
And I'm sure we'll see a much improved Murray State defense compared to last year. Well, when we come back, we have highlights of Racer Hoopalooza, and later we'll show you what Murray State player has NFL scouts keeping an eye on him. Stay tuned.
Mark Gottfried, Isaiah Cannon, Popeye Jones, James Singleton, and other basketball legends were all in the same room last week for Racer Hoopalooza. So let's take a look at what was the most exciting event of this summer in racer athletics.
Racer Hoopalooza kicked off with a fury of familiar faces. Jeff Martin, Benny Purcell, Denaro Thomas, and even Popeye Jones all gathered under one roof to toast former head coach Mark Gottfried. Why Mark Gottfried? Because he's awesome. Because he led the Racers to back-to-back OVC championships. Because his team broke into the nation's top 25 for the first time in school history. Because, why not? Here's what Mark Gottfried had to say about his return to Murray.
This is a thrill for me to be back. We all get so busy with what we're doing that sometimes you don't take the time to go back to places you've been. And so for me, I have not been around nearly as much as I would have wanted to. So I'm excited. I'm thrilled. This is it's kind of humbling. I watch the Racers closely. I follow every game that they play. I did it when Tavestra was coaching, and Mick and Billy and Steve and I are close. So I watch it, but I haven't been here to see it inside of it. And I've often told people that what an unbelievable place for me to be the first-time head coach, where winning is important. People want to help you win. People are excited about the program. And I feel like, to me, I learned how to coach here. I was able to make some mistakes that we were able to overcome them. I get asked a lot, Coach, why does Murray State always win? They just keep winning all the time. And it takes an effort from everybody, but there's a commitment here to win. It's important to people. And so for me, along my journey as a coach, this was a important part, a fun part to be a part of Murray State. And I'm excited to be here tonight.
Coach Gottfried wasn't the only one excited to be back in Murray. Some former players were also happy to be back and see so many familiar faces.
When you're playing still, you don't really look back on your accomplishments. You try to just look forward and try to keep getting better. But, after, the pro career is done now and all is said and done, it's pretty good to understand, how you help put the school on the map and the things that you've done here while you're a student athlete.
We like to think that we got it started. We had good teams back then, and ever since then, the program has been building, continuing to get better, continue to win, and the program is in a great place right now.
Got the opportunity to be here amongst great fans as well, met a lot of friends, so just being here is special altogether.
People gave speeches, Neil Bradley led the toast, and there was even some Racer memorabilia up for auction. But the real fun was the next day. Golf. Yes, golfing. Though some were better than others, but hey, I'm guessing golf isn't their first sport. Racer Hoopalooza was a huge success and a treat for any Murray State fan. Everyone seemed to have a blast and hopes it becomes an annual event. For Hoofbeats, I'm John Black.
10 touchdowns, 1,213 receiving yards, 915 return yards last season. The 6-foot, 180-pound St. Louis native may be the next racer to make it to the National Football League. His name is Walter Powell, and this is his story.
20, 15, 10, 5, he scored! He took it all the way for the touchdown. Walter Powell put it on the board.
My name's Walter Powell. This is my racer profile.
Across the middle, and Walter Powell is sniffing the end zone. 15-yard scoring play.
Coming out of high school, I was under the radar receiver because I didn't start playing receiver till my senior year. I was actually playing a defensive back during my high school career. Even though I had good stats, it was just like I was a late bloomer. So I didn't really get the chance to fully experience the recruiting process. So when Coach Hatch came around and with the spread offense he was bringing to the table, that was the type of offense I wanted to play with, because that was the offense I played with in high school. So I really I love the scenery, I love Murray State, I love the visit, so I just decided to come here.
Scramble now, receiver open in the end zone, touchdown, Racers, Walter Powell.
This time at Murray State, it's been a growing process. It's been like I came in very immature, just eager to get on the field, but at the same time, it's been very humbling because I didn't come in starting and I had to work my way up to the top. I've been embraced by the community with lots of love. Lots of kids know who I am, so
sometimes it's like real surprising, and it gets me excited that the kids know who I am, so I really like to put on a show for them.
Across the 50, cuts back at the inside of the field, across the 30, down to the 20.
Last season, unfortunately, we didn't get the record we wanted, but at the same time, it was a lot of accomplishments made by like my teammates and me also. Last year, I finished with 10 touchdowns, 1,213 yards receiving, and a couple of punt returns.
If he gets past Buki, he's got it. Buki pulls up lane. Walter Powell's going to take it in for a touchdown. No flags on the play ball. Great job. Again, they're going to eventually quit kicking to him.
I mean, I knew like I was going to get them yards because of all the hard work I put in with Casey, and then like just doing all this extra work off the field besides practice. And last season, like it showed that my hard work like paid off.
Throws across the middle, has his man for the touchdown, Walter Powell, and the Racers strike quickly with a 14-yard touchdown pass.
This season, since the OVC had us finishing 6th this year, I want us to prove them wrong by winning the conference, of course. Like any other team is to win the conference, that's the goal. Make it to the playoffs, and then for my personal goals, just exceed all the goals I had from last year, and just make sure my team has a winning season, get us to the playoffs, and win the OVC.
Deep in the end zone, caught touchdown, Walter Powell. His 3rd touchdown today.
It sounds like it's a fairy tale or something because I'm ending my senior season playing against Mizzou, and then also I'm ending my last game of my college career on my birthday. So, like, it's gonna be a real great experience this season, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take full advantage of it. My goal is, God willing, to get drafted. That's the goal. If not, if I just get picked up by a team, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to stay on that team, and just make it to the NFL. Not just make it to the NFL, be a successful receiver and returner in the NFL.
Powell foot race to the end zone, and he's in there for the touchdown.
Murray State is the place that humbled me, because I used to be kind of big-headed. So like this really brought me down to earth and made me realize like it takes hard work and dedication to really become successful.
Up next on Hoof Beats, we have Tom Vie of OVCBall.net in the studio to give us his opinion on this upcoming football season. And later we send it to Jamal Gardner for a preview of the new softball stadium. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Hoof Beats. Joining us on the show is Tom Vie of OVCBall.net. Tom, you've been researching all summer. Who are some impact players that we can look forward to seeing this year?
Well, number 1, we've got Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback, EIU. Eastern Illinois, he's number 2. Jeremy Butler, UT Martin wide receiver. And, of course, number 3, Stephen Godbolt III, NFL draft prospect.
And, of course, Garoppolo is a guy who has a junior broke OVC passing yard, so obviously that's a guy that we're going to be keeping our eye on. Now, about ranking your teams, I know that's what you do at OVCBall.net. That's what you're known for. Your power ranking, starting from the bottom, working our way up. So first, who's the bottom 3? Who's going to really struggle this year?
Oh, at the bottom, it's got to be Austin Peay. It's a replacement team. New coach, new quarterback, new everything. Working our way up. You got SEMO. No one knows what they're going to do. Tennessee Tech, what are we going to do with that?
Yeah, Austin Peay, like you said, is a team that really struggled. Why the constant struggle going into this year?
Well, you have to look at, they just didn't have a defense. It was a young, inexperienced defense, and now that entire defense is back. They are missing a key piece going down with an Achilles heel, but he's got a replacement right behind him that's going to be really big for the team this year.
Yeah, and then, okay, so working our way up, who's the next 3 teams? Who's going to finish middle of the pack this year?
Well, the middle of the pack, I've got UT Martin, Murray State, Jacksonville State. And Murray State, I know it's hoof beats here, but I trust the defense. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-4, brand new. Thorell has really installed that. Offensively, yep. I'm worried about how you've got 2 great running backs in Thunder and Lightning and Barry and Brady. Yeah. How are you going to incorporate them? If this offense is going to work, they're going to need 20, 30 touches, either through catches, through runs. They're going to have to do something to keep the defenses guessing on what's coming up next.
And those are a couple of teams you mentioned who lose their starting quarterbacks. Carr over at UT Martin, and then, of course, Casey Brockman and Murray State. Those are 2 guys that's really tough to replace. Is that going to be a problem for both of those teams?
Well, Murray State at least has named their starting quarterback.
Yes.
Martin right now, they are still in a competition. Dylan Favre could be the quarterback. He's a running quarterback, though, and traditionally Martin likes to have a thrower, and that's why I believe Jared Neal is the guy to take over for Derek Carr.
All right, so who's your top 3 teams? These are the teams that it's going to be tough games for our Murray State Racers. Who are they?
Well, the top 3 are the last 3 that Murray State has to take on. Number 3, I've got Eastern Kentucky, the preseason number 2, run the ball. Number 2, Tennessee State, my sleeper team. All 11 defensive players are back on this team, and even their backups. Ron Reed saying, no, these guys do not have a spot. Offense, quarterback got caught partying on top of a Ford Fiesta, so who's going to be the quarterback? So they've got to turn to a true freshman. And then number 1, everyone's favorite, Eastern Illinois, last to first this past season. Can they hold on? We'll find out.
Yeah, looking for them to repeat again this year. Rod Reed entering his 4th year at TSU. They got some games on ESPN3. It's neat to see those games at LP Field, and why second for them?
Offense is the main reason why. And you talk about them going to LP Field first week of the season. They're taking on the number 1 HBCU team in the OVC, in the entire nation. That will be the time where we'll get to see what this offense can do, because I have no questions on the defense.
Yeah, so it's going to be, like you said, those are the last 3 games for Murray State, and that is a tough way to end the season, because it could be 3 games that could potentially decide an OVC championship.
It will, and those guys that aren't trying to get the OVC championship are going to be contending for a possible play-in spot for the FCS.
Right. All right, well, Tom, thanks for joining us, and check out the website, ovcball.net. It's revamped, and it's looking nice. Coming up on Hoof Beats, we'll meet the Racers as many young fans get their first look at this year's team. Stay with us.
It was another fun year for Murray State's youngest group of fans, as they went through drills led by Murray State coaches and players. This event, of course, means a lot to the kids, but maybe means even more to the players, as once again they were reminded how they are idolized by their fans.
Well, today is our Meet the Racers Day. It's a great opportunity for the fans, and especially the youngsters of the area, to interact with our football players. We'll have a little mini clinic, try to teach the youngsters a little about football, and then we'll have some autographs, hot dogs, and it's just a day of fun.
Aiden's been doing this for the past 3 years. He looks forward to it every year. Every year he actually begs to come, but it's not really even necessary, because I love bringing them here and interacting with the players and making them realize that Murray State and Murray State football is a huge part of the community.
We were doing drills and met the players and had fun.
Where's Will at? Where's Will at? Where's Will? Will! Will! You can't take it from him now. That's his. You got it?
We got our cheerleaders here, Racer One's here for photo opportunities. But it's just a week before the first game, opportunity for the people of Murray and Western Kentucky to see our players without their helmets on and get to know them a little better. So it's a beautiful morning, and we're looking to have just a great day.
Racers ready! Racers ready! Racers ready! Racers ready! Hey, Racers! All right, break them down. Racers on 3. Here we go. Ready? Get inside. Let's get inside. Whoa. Be careful. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Racers!
When we come back, our own Jamal Gardner will tell us about our new softball field. Stay tuned.
Almost 25 years ago, there was a movie that came out called The Field of Dreams. And in that movie, there was a famous line that said, "If you build it, they will come." Well, in between the CFSB Center, Roy Stewart Stadium, and the Wellness Center, now there's a Field of Dreams for the ladies softball team. The newest addition to Murray State's campus, located between the Wellness Center and Roy Stewart Stadium, is the brand new Murray State softball complex. Completed this past summer, the stadium will make it more convenient for Murray State students to come out and be in attendance for this coming season's softball games.
I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible to finally be able to be on campus and to have probably one of the best fields in the conference, be able to compete here and host conference tournaments. Just everything about it is so much better than what we have and what we had, and that's kind of an attribute to President Dunn, because he kind of put the legwork in for us, and our athletic director, Mr. Ward, for making this a possibility so early in the program.
The stadium is equipped with bleacher seating, lights, a scoreboard and batting cages next to the left field fence. The dugouts are very much improved from the previous field, and don't worry about cars parked around the field, as a huge net prevents home run balls from damaging any vehicles.
And the surface is great. You know, like I said, it's first class. It's a first class field, and it's right next to everything else we do as a program. Right in the football stadium is our locker room and our weight room. So everything we do is right here. It's way more convenient. We get a lot of people just coming by and checking out our practices. So I think the fan atmosphere is going to be way better as well.
The attendance isn't the only positive of building this new facility. It has already made an impact on recruiting. Last year's softball head coach, Kara Amundsen, signed 7 new players.
We step into the dugout is usually the first place that we'll take them and come out on the field, and it's got a great view. It's got great sight lines, and just being able to know that you're going to come here and get a first-class experience in your home. You take so much pride in where you play the game. So we've had plenty of people come out here and say how beautiful it is and what a great campus this is, and being able to have this on campus is just huge for our recruiting.
The first home opener to be held at Racer Field will be September 15th when the Racers host St. Catherine.
Welcome back to Hoof Beats. Murray State gets set for their first game of the season. Tomorrow, kickoff time is 6 o'clock Central Time on ESPN 3 at Missouri. Mizzou, an SEC team that struggled last year with a lot of injuries. The newcomers to the conference finished with just 2 wins in SEC play. Those wins over Kentucky and Tennessee. JT, Jamal, what are your thoughts about the Tigers?
You know, when I think about the whole season as a whole, I really look at the retribution for Missouri and how they really want to come out and be winners this year. And that's the same thing with the Murray State Racers. And when I really think about it, you know, Missouri has some big offensive linemen, and you know, those are some big boys, and I really worry for our defensive tackles and our linebackers. If the two guards get on our linebackers, I'm really worried about how much rushing yards they're going to get. And another subject that really worries me about this game is the quarterback play of us, because they have 2 really tall wide receivers, and one of them is Darrell Beckham Green. He's 6'6", 220 pounds, runs a 4.4 40, and I'm really hoping that our corners can stay with him.
Well, that old line is also going to be blocking one heck of a quarterback named James Franklin, and he slumped big time last year. As a matter of fact, like, he went from his sophomore year, 21 touchdowns through the air, 15 on the ground, to just 10 touchdowns last year to 0 on the ground. He has something to prove. He was never 100%. I think he's going to be hungry this year.
And like you said, James Franklin, he wasn't 100%, missed 4 games. They had another guy, Henry Josie, who missed playing time, missed all of last season, another big impact player. You take that into consideration. We have a totally different Missouri team this year.
You know, you talk about a whole new Missouri team. Well, there's a whole new Murray State team on that field as well. Dennis Durrell has changed the defense from a 4-3 to a 3-4. And with that 3-4, I'm really impressed with what they've looked so far in camp. And you know, you talk about a new mantra on a team, a new just aura. The Murray State Racers have the new aura, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. And I really think they're going to open some eyes around the OVC in this game as well.
With Texas A&M and Missouri coming from the Big 12 to the SEC last year, and Texas A&M doing what they did, beating the national champions Alabama, Missouri is hungry to prove that they are worthy of the SEC, and that's what scares me about this game. And they are going to be very, very hungry and very, very eager to play this game.
Yeah, and again, Murray State coming into an SEC environment, it's always a tough place to play. Anywhere in the SEC is a tough place to play. Missouri is no different. So talking about predictions, this is the first game of the season. We'll get this thing started. JT, what's going to happen?
You know, when I really look at the books and I really think about what's going on, I really think Missouri is going to win 35-21. But I do think if Murray can hold them to under 21 points, they can win on the foot of Jordan Benton 24-21.
I wish they could hold them under underneath that, but I think James Franklin is hungry like none other, and I think Missouri is going to win 44-14.
Yeah, and I too believe it's a money game. It is what it is. Very rarely do you win these games. Missouri 12-0 against FCS opponents. They don't lose these games at all, and that's why I got to go with Missouri as well. Of course, hoping for a different outcome, but I'm taking the Tigers 35-17. And that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Hoof Beats. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, where we'll have exclusive content every week. For Jamal Gardner and JT Wiskowski, I'm Steve Peak.